So if you have been thinking about learning how to lash, but you don't know where to start, what to buy, or what to even watch, stick around because I'm going to give you a complete free lesson how to start your own lash business. Now, I know that when you're starting, you don't want to put too much money into the industry, right? Because you're just starting, you don't know if you're going to like it. So this is where you have to choose wisely the material that you're going to buy. I'm going to talk about some material that you could buy that's not going to break the pocket. So we're going to start out with foam pads. What are foam pads? Foam pads can be replaced as a mannequin. Now, the reason that this helps is because a foam pad, it still lets you do the application. It lets you apply the classic, the angel, the fanning. It won't help you with the isolation, but it will help with placement, which is a big deal when learning how to lash. Now, another thing that you are going to look into is that you're going to look into these two tweezers. These are my absolute favorite, and I personally use them right now. So it's your isolation tweezer and it is ear placement tweezer. Both of these tweezers do the job. Then you're gonna buy your glue. This is my favorite glue. We're not gonna get into the details of what the glue needs and everything, but you're gonna get the slowest drying time. Remember, we are just starting. So we don't want to do a quick dry time and then you're going to get overwhelmed. Everything is going to get stuck together. You're going to get sticky. The glue's going to dry fast. We want to avoid that, right? So you have your glue, you have your tweezers, you have your foam pads. You're going to get a mixed lash tray, just one. You only need one. We're getting into it. Remember, you're going to watch this video. You're going to use this one lash tray to see if you really like what you're doing. This lash tray is a mixed lash tray. You can select any curl that you like and you are going to get it as long as it's from lengths 8 to 16. That is a mixed lash tray, and you want to make sure that they are also 0.05. This is going to help with the most basic set that you're going to learn. So now you have lash tray, tweezers, glue, foam pads. Now, if you want to add the mannequin, if you're like, okay, I feel like I am going to like it, I want to get really into it, and I want to get into the isolation, you're going to get the mannequin with the removable eyelids. The reason I love the removable eyelids is because you can practice one set, you can take the eyelids off, and then you practice a new set. You can even do a removal with the removable eyelids, which is with the cream. You can do a removal so that you're always practicing. Other material that you're going to be getting is a lash tile and glue ring. So you have a total of 7 things that you are going to be purchasing. And of course, all of these things, I will link them down below. So now, what are you going to do with these stuffs and how do we move along, right? First things first, your shipment comes in and you're going to get your foam pads. You're going to get a marker, a pen, a Sharpie, anything that you have accessible to you. You're going to dot this foam pad. This is going to give you the guidance that you can place the fan on each dot. This is good because it helps with direction, it helps with placement, and it helps you identify like, okay, I have to place it on this specific dot. So that's what's going to help it with that, right? Now, once you mark that, you're going to get your lash and you're going to pick up a strip and you're going to place it on your lash tile. When you're picking up a strip, you want to make sure that only the sticky part comes in and you're able to still have that sticky side to be able to place it on your lash tile. It's very important. This is a minor detail, but I swear that if you mess this up, it can go a big way. Once you have it on your lash tile, this is where your volume tweezer comes in, which is a black one, which is also the one that I linked. And if you received it, that's the one you'll be using. If not, if you have one of your own, as long as it's a volume fiber tube tweezer, I promise you that it's gonna do the job. So you're gonna go in and you are gonna pick up your hybrid fan. You wanna make sure that you're picking up precisely. You wanna make sure that no hairs are coming around. You wanna make sure that you put enough pressure to be able to pick up that fan. If you're not putting in pressure, if your hands are not cramping, if you're just picking up like whatever, the fan is gonna open up and you're not gonna have control of that base. When it comes into lashing, you really wanna have control of a base. You really wanna make sure that you know what you're doing. Because if you don't have a thin base, if your base is too thick, if it has hairs all around, and you place it on your client's eye, it's either gonna get sticky to around the lash, or it's just gonna look too bulky. We wanna make sure that our bases are thin. It's probably the most important thing, because if it's not a thin base, then everything is gonna get ruined. So you wanna make sure you focus on that when you're practicing your fanning. Thin base. So then you picked up your fan, right? Now what you're gonna do is that you're going to dip it into your glue. Remember, your glue is inside your glue ring, just one dot. So you picked up your fan, you go and you place into your glue, and then from your glue, immediately you wanna place into the foam pad. You don't wanna wait too long. Why? Because your glue is going to dry. So this is where that practice comes in of like, okay, I need to move on. I need to do this quickly. Remember, we're not isolating. We're just placing, and it's gonna help with timing. You are gonna realize like, okay, I created the fan, I dipped in glue. Perfect, let me go put it on the foam pad. It's very important that you do this step quickly, because remember, right now we're not isolating, but it is gonna get to the point where you are isolating, you dipped in glue, and you have to place, making sure that your isolation tweezer is still open with one identifying lash. So you need to make sure that you're doing this properly and with the correct time and with the correct glue, which is where the glue is important, right? If you get a fast drying glue and you still don't know how to place right away, or you still don't know how to isolate, then your glue is going to dry on its lash. then this is where the retention happens, and this is where the issues happen, that they are falling off, they're flying off, because if it dries before you even place it, it might still grab on, it might still stick, but you're gonna go in with your spoolie, you're gonna brush it, and it's gonna fall off. We don't want that, right? We wanna avoid that as much as possible. So now you created that fan, you place it on your foam pad. What now? This is where the mannequin comes in. You're gonna grab your mannequin, you're gonna place eye patches, you're gonna place tapes. Eye patches and tapes are really not needed when it comes to practice. If you're just doing a mannequin, forget about those. Don't even waste your money on those. Not right now, they're not needed. You are doing a mannequin. Now, if you do have them, perfect. You already know that you have to cover the bottom lashes. To make sure you have the bottom lashes fully covered. Of course, like I said, on your mannequin, there is no bottom lashes. On your client, there is. That is where the eye patches and the tapes come in. As of a mannequin, let's ignore them because we are just focusing on isolating. We want to master the isolation before we even touch a real client. So now this is where your isolation tweezer comes in. You grab your isolation tweezer. You want to make sure you're opening one lash. One lash, that is all you want. You don't want to open up two because then when you go in with your volume tweezer to place your fan, it's gonna get stuck on both of them. You wanna make sure that it fully opens to just one. So you open the tweezer, there is only one natural lash there. That is when you're gonna come in and place your extension. So now you're gonna hold it 5 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, but you wanna hold it. You wanna make sure that that extension is fully dried before you remove your isolation tweezer. If you remove it before then and the glue is still not dry, again, it's gonna get stuck to the ones on the side. That is where stickies happen. We wanna avoid that as much as possible. So now you created a fan, now you isolated, which is perfect, right? You are amazing at this, you're doing such a good job. Now our goal is to fill up the whole eye. So you're like, no, what about the numbers? No, what about the mapping? I get that, right? So you're gonna do a basic map, which is a cut eye. Everyone does a cut eye, right? Most of the time it complements most clients. Of course, you really wanna look at her eye shape. But for right now, for practice on our mannequin, we are gonna do a cut eye. You're gonna get your Sharpie. And if you have the eye patches, this is where you're gonna draw your numbers. You're gonna do a number from 10 to 13. The ones you already have on your lash tray, it's super simple. You're just gonna mark it. 10, 11, 12, 13, because it's just gonna go up. So you start 10 in your inner, 13 on your outer. You're gonna draw the numbers leading up to that 13. Then from your lash tray, you're gonna pick up your 10, 11, 12, and 13, put them on your lash tile. You create your fans and you're doing the same thing. Through each division, you're gonna put the 10s in the 10s, 11s in the 11s, and so on and so forth, right? You're gonna build up that set. Now, either you're doing a hybrid or you're doing a volume, but you're gonna create your fans to that specific number. Now at the end, you're gonna see how you created your first cut eye style. So it's very important that you know what you're doing, and it is very important that you isolate it correctly and that you place your fans perfectly and you have thin bases. Now that you learn how to do a set, it's like, what do I do to get clients? How do I grow my industry? How to grow my business, right? You wanna make sure that through all your process, you are documenting it. That's either on TikTok, that's either on Instagram. You wanna make sure that you are posting your progress consistently. You wanna make sure that people know that you're practicing, even if it's just a mannequin. It doesn't matter because you are still gonna gain followers, they're gonna follow you, and they're gonna potentially book with you the moment that you post a real life person practice. So you wanna make sure you build the audience. You wanna make sure that you get the audience excited. Always posting content, it's very important. Now I do have a program that teaches the girls how to lash fully, which is from theory, from eye shapes, from placement, from isolation, from eye patches to a live model, to how to get clients, to how to get booked. I teach absolutely all of that. And if you guys are interested and you potentially wanna expand your knowledge in the industry, click the link down below and I will get you started.